Hello everyone, it's August the 19th, 2022, and today a few hundred authors and writers are going to gather on the steps of New York Public Library to read excerpts from the writings and works of Salman Rushdie, to express solidarity with him and to exercise freedom of speech. And they're inviting people all around the world just to read from Salman's works and post them readings on social media, so I thought I would participate in that. So just before I read a little extract from the Satanic Verses, which is the only work of Salman Rushdie's that I possess, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the subject. I had a very fleeting acquaintance with Salman Rushdie many years ago when he worked in the advertising industry, as I did. He struck me at the time, although he wouldn't know me from Adam, and I barely knew him. But he struck me at the time as being an exceptional personality and totally out of place in the world of advertising, which is populated by egotists and shallow personalities. Yeah, an absolutely charming person, very cultivated and articulate, and it's a great tragedy what has happened to him, and the whole story of the extreme reaction that certain elements of the Muslim faith have taken against this particular work. So when the fatwa was announced on him in 1989, I went out and bought a copy of the Satanic Verses, just basically to give some kind of support, show some kind of solidarity with him at the time. And I attempted to read it, never got very far into it. I've never been interested really in Salman's works up until then, and I didn't really have a great deal of interest in the Satanic Verses, other than I just wanted to do something in a small way to show my support for him in his predicament. So I didn't get very far into it, and in the intervening years, as you can see, the pages have yellowed and it's just sat gathering dust on my bookshelf. But after the attack on him, I thought I would attempt to read it, and I'm about halfway through at the moment. I got a little bit further than I did last time. I'm enjoying it. I've read what I imagine are the passages that so offended so many people of the Muslim faith, and don't really understand the objections they've taken to the book. That's really all I can say about that. His attacker and a great many of the people who have condemned him haven't actually read as much as I have of this book, and are simply following the diktats of their religious leaders. So yeah, great shame, but I wanted to do this now just to really, it fits in with my views in general about freedom of expression, and particularly on YouTube, as you know if you've seen any of my recent videos. My own feeling is that not speaking out on subjects for fear of offending people isn't the way to go. What happens is you get a vacuum, and the vacuum is filled, and it's filled by other people spouting ideas that are clearly misinformation, disinformation, conspiracy theorists, flat earthers, anti-vaxxers, all that kind of thing. The 2020 election being rigged, all that kind of thing in America. That's what fills the space that people who feel inhibited from speaking out, leave. And that's why I want to give this reading. Anyway, so I've chosen a passage struck me as particularly well written, and it's describing, although it doesn't say so, it's actually describing a part of the world that I know reasonably well, which is Norman's Bay on the coast of Sussex, and which is adjacent to Pevensey, where the Normans built their first castle after the invasion in 1066. So I'm going to read a couple of pages from the book, which describe an episode that occurred in that part of the world. "I know what a ghost is," the old woman affirmed silently. Her name was Rosa Diamond. She was 88 years old, and she was squinting beakily through her salt-caked bedroom windows, watching the full moon sea. "And I know what it isn't too," she nodded further. "It isn't a scarification or a flapping sheet, so pooh and pish to all that, bunkum. What's a ghost? Unfinished business is what." At which the old lady, 6 feet tall, straight-backed, her hair hacked short as any man's, jerked the corners of her mouth downwards in a satisfied tragedy mask pout, pulled a knitted blue shawl tight around bony shoulders, and closed for a moment her sleepless eyes to pray for the past's return. "Come on, you Norman ships," she begged. "Let's have you, Willie the Conk." 900 years ago, all this was underwater, this portioned shore, this private beach, its shingle rising steeply towards the little row of flaky paint villas with their peeling boathouses crammed full of deck chairs, empty picture frames, ancient tuck boxes, stuffed with bundles of letters tied up in ribbons, mothballed silk and lace lingerie, the tear-stained reading matter of once young girls, lacrosse sticks, stamp albums, and all the buried treasure chests of memory and lost time. The coastline had changed, had moved a mile or more out to sea, leaving the first Norman castle stranded far from water, lapped now by marshy land that afflicted with all manner of dank and boggy agues the poor who lived there on their, estates. She, the old lady, saw the castle as the ruin of a fish betrayed by an antique ebbing tide, as a sea monster petrified by time. 900 years, 9 centuries past, the Norman fleet had sailed right through this Englishwoman's home. On clear nights, when the moon was full, she waited for its shining, revenant ghost. "Best place to see him come," she reassured herself. "Grandstand view." Repetition had become a comfort in her antiquity. The well-worn phrases, "unfinished business," "grandstand view," made her feel solid, unchanging, sempiternal, instead of the creature of cracks and absences she knew herself to be. When the full moon sets, the dark before the dune, that's their moment. Billow of sail, flash of oars, and the conqueror himself at the flagship prow, sailing up the beach between the barnacled wooden breakwaters and a few inverted sculls. Oh, I've seen things in my time, always had the gift, the phantom sight. The conqueror in his pointy metal-nosed hat, passing through her front door, gliding betwixt the cake stands and antimacassard sofas, like an echo resounding faintly through that house of remembrances and yearnings, then falling silent as the grave. Once as a girl on Battle Hill, she was fond of recounting, always in the same time-polished words. Once as a solitary child, I found myself quite suddenly and with no sense of strangeness in the middle of a war. Longbows, maces, pikes, the flaxen Saxon boys cut down in their sweet youth. Harold Arrow-eye and William with his mouth full of sand. Yes, always the gift, the phantom sight. The story of the day on which the child Rosa had seen a vision of the Battle of Hastings had become for the old woman one of the defining landmarks of her being, though it had been told so often that nobody, not even the teller, could confidently swear that it was true. I longed for them sometimes round Rosa's practised thoughts, les beaux jours, the dear dead days. She closed once more her reminiscent eyes. When she opened them, she saw, down by the water's edge, no denying it, something beginning to move. What, she said aloud in her excitement, I don't believe it. It isn't true, he's never here. On unsteady feet, with bumping chest, Rosa went for her hat, cloak, stick, while on the winter seashore, Gibril Farishta awoke with a mouthful of not sand, snow.